morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome back to Red Hot Top Podcast. Yes, as you can see that I'm running solo today because Rod is on holiday. So I'm all by myself, but I'm all up for it because today we are going to talk about OM system and OM system alone. More specifically, about the brand new lens, the 50mm to 200mm f2.8 IS Pro. As you can see from the thumbnail, this is more about why it exists and how much I like it and why, and also comparing to one of my all-time favorites from the Olympus lineup, the 40 to 150mm f2.8 Pro. And of course, I'm going to answer some questions from you guys as well, and you can ask me anything. As long as I know the answers, I will try my best to answer it, that's for sure. And so I'm going to let the stream run a little bit, and then hopefully there'll be a few more people joining before I start the stream's content properly. But I can see a couple of people saying good day or hello already from David Black and Rob as well. I don't know why I'm doing this myself. I can't afford this lens. I don't need this lens, and yet okay, that's interesting, Rob. Let me know if you you need some help getting this lens, because apparently in the UK at least the lens is already sold out. The first batch is gone. I pre-ordered it this morning, literally first thing as soon as past 7 o'clock when the website is open for pre-ordering. I did it not at 7 o'clock, but 7:30, because I was actually traveling to central London for my photo shoot, so I didn't really have a chance to sit down properly and pre-order the lens. But I did as soon as I can, which is about 7:30. I still managed to get the first batch, but I literally just click onto the OM System website, the UK website. They already said that the first batch is gone, so now they are under back order for the next batch, which should come, I think, possibly towards the end of October. But that's all I know so far. So at least in the UK, the first batch of the new lens is completely sold out. That shows the popularity of the lens, and also probably many of them has concurred the what I said about the lens after seeing some of the images across the entire internet now, right? There are quite a few people already posting the videos. I'm really happy to see that this time around we have a lot of variety when it comes to content creations, right? I did my video surrounding some of the urban shootings and also on the beach on servers, for instance. You're going to see some sample images later in this stream. I'm going to once again showcase some of them, and you can see Emily did some wildlife, and you see some other guys doing birds and things. So it's a good mix there. But I would like to test out, even more urban stuff, like doing portrait, for instance, with this lens, because I use the 40 to 150 a lot in the past for my portrait work, and I think that's one of the most versatile zoom lenses I have in the Micro Four Thirds lineup. And for those who also seen my videos, you probably heard me about saying that I prefer this over the 150 to 400 for many reasons, and I'm going to go through that one by one later. But at the same time, I would like to hear from you. So far, you've seen all the videos online. You heard about the announcement. You probably have clicked onto the OM System website to check on the lens specifications. What do you think about this lens? Are you excited about it? I know I've already seen some comments talking about the price, but we're gonna have a little discussion about the price in a minute. But in general, what do you think of it? Are you excited about it? Do you think that it's something that you would like to get, or something that you think that's not worth it because I already have the 40 to 150 f2.8 Pro, and that's already good enough for me. Because that came through my mind as well, but I can tell you that after you've seen the video that I made, and also maybe after the stream, you feel the same way as I am. Okay, so a few more people are right here now. Paul, hello Paul, and hi Brad. And I feel some gases building. You know what, yeah? And it's funny thing, because when I made the video, obviously I made it last month, and I only had 1 week with the lens, so I didn't have that long. That's why you didn't see me taking more sample shots in different environment, because I was actually taking the lens to a family holiday in Cornwall in the UK. So you know, I only had kind of more or less restricted to one kind of photography I could do. If I'm in London, I might have to do some portrait, I might do some street photography, I might even do some wildlife in parks and things like that. Yeah, so it's just very restrictive, and I only have 1 week to do it. That's why I had to say what I said in the video. But overall, I'm very impressed with it, especially those shots that I've done with the servers on the beach. They are amazing. You know, these as really, really, you know, test out the lens capabilities, not only in the AF side of it, but also stabilizations and also sharpness. Because I use a lot of the tele end, the long end, because you can imagine, right? You know, all the server right into this, right in the sea, like about 100 to 200 meters away from me. So I have to utilize the reach to get them. Luckily, you know, this is a 50 to 200, right? You know, so at the 200 end, this is 400 equivalent in the full frame term, so it's quite long already. And once you throw in the 1.4 to 2 times converter, you are getting very, very long. And in fact, for this entire trip, for this whole video demonstration, I didn't take my 1.4 time converter. I thought, you know, I might as well just go all in, right? So I just took the 2 times converter with me in this trip, and I just shoot everything either without teleconverters or with a 2 times converter. So I either get the maximum reach or just use a native reach from the long end of the lens. But overall, I'm really impressed with the quality, both with and without teleconverters. So yeah, I can see that gas building up, and that's for sure, because I literally had that as soon as I tested the lens. I was like, oh gosh, I really wanted this lens. I know I said so many times my dream lens is the other white, you know, the big white, the 150 to 400 millimeters. That's still my dream lens, but I mean, I already said the reason in my video. I couldn't justify myself buying that lens. It's obviously more expensive. You do have a really big reach and a built-in teleconverters, but at the same time, I don't really shoot wildlife that much. And I know if I shoot birds, I will probably get that lens, that's for sure. But I really don't. I do a lot of street, I do a lot of travel, I do a lot of portrait. And occasionally, I might dabble into some wildlife, but like I said, occasionally. So this lens actually really gives me that that flexibility, because I can use it in all kinds of stuff. Throwing the 2 times converters, I can, you know, turn myself into a wildlife photographer quite easily. I know you get 5.6 aperture instead of f4, but you know, it's doable. You know, it's still better than the 150 to 600, for instance, because that's 6.3, right? And also in terms of optical quality, oh gosh, this thing is something. I'm going to show you some sample images in just a second. So we have other people joining in now. Let's say hi to everybody. We have Forthers Rumors. Oh, okay, that's a nice name. And Paul Summer, hello. That's great. Great to see a lot more people joining in now. That's for sure. That's good. Good sign. So maybe I'll start throwing in some sample images. You may have seen some of these already in my video, but I've got slightly bigger selections here to show you guys. And we might as well just talk about the lens at the same time, looking at some of the images, so you can actually appreciate some the actual quality of the lens. I can talk a little bit about my settings as well. So let's see now. I'm going to go to this. So hopefully you can see this. So this is one of the first shots that I did actually, and when I got to Cornwall. This was with the 2 times converter. As you can already tell, it's sharp. This thing is sharp. And I was using human tracking on the OM1 Mark II, so everything's kind of auto for me. CAF, of course, not single AF. It tracks perfectly. It tracks everything very, very well. I wouldn't say 100% 100% hit rate. You know, nothing ever is. So, but I would say that is on the high end. So it's probably about 85 to 90% hit rate, so which is actually very, very good for a lens with teleconverters. Because a lot of the time when you throw in a teleconverters, especially the 2 times converter, you will have a little bit of an AF downgrade. That's how it is. You know, and even image quality, you will take a slight dip. I wouldn't say massive, but you will compare to the, let's say, without teleconverter, you can actually see the little bit of difference there. But overall, with the teleconverters, you know, it's still very respective sharpness. You can see right here in the image there. I just think it's really brilliant. Oh, Jeff is here as well. Hello, Jeff, and Antonio, and Tiger Lines. So yeah, tell me all about how excited you are with this lens here, and then we can come on to a little bit of a nitty-gritty or any question you want to ask me about this lens. I will try to answer them as well. But overall, it is a lens. So I doubt that there will be too much of too many questions out there. Most of them will probably relating to compatibilities, how stable it is, optical quality wise, and but we can go through all of that. As soon as you see some images, you probably ask those questions anyway. So let's go through another one. This is the next shot that I did. Again, 2x converter there. I think the first set of server pictures I did were all done with 2x converter. I don't think I actually took it off at all. I just leave it on the camera and the lens. Brilliant. I just love it. You can see the subject separation here, and you can, this is something about having a 2.8. You really have that flexibility, even when you have the teleconverters in 5.6. But at that sort of distance, you can get really nice, decent subject separations there. Absolutely fantastic. Theo, hello Theo. It's been a long time. It's good to see you here. I know. It's quite good to see you. I have the big white and have the 40 watt. So I do not need this little white now. But who knows? I might be tempted at some point. Interesting, because you already have the 150 to 400, which is a fantastic lens. So something that like I said already early in the stream, I still really would like to get one. But because the price, I don't think is something I can justify spending that sort of money on a lens that I don't use as often. But the 50 to 200, on the other hand, is a lens I will use almost every day. To you, I have the 50 to 150, so the 40 to 150. That's a great lens. I just don't think that lens has any flaws, even in 2025. But at the same time, when you put it next to the 50 to 200 millimeters 2.8, the difference is there. You can really not only see the difference, but also feel the difference. Yeah. When I say feel the difference, not just about the build, but also the actual speed, the operations, the focusing ring, and everything like the zoom ring. Is more tactile. This guy is a white lens, so it's you have the 150 to 400, how it feels, right? It's definitely better in terms of feel compared to the black pro lenses, right? So this is just like the big white, the 150 to 400. The 50 to 200 is basically the same build. So the actual materials and the zoom focusing actions are everything very similar to the bigger white lenses. So I think, to me, the 50 to 200 really is another level up in all respects: optical performance, and also handling and internal constructions and everything. So to me, because it's a focal range that I use a lot, it is something that I can justify to myself that I can spend that money, and that's why I pressed the pre-order button this morning. So I'm really looking forward to receiving that lens and really taking it out. Start shooting with all kinds of stuff, portraits in the streets and everything like that, everything in between, really, and to give you more variety, more flavor of what this lens can do in the future. So please do stay tuned for my upcoming video. As soon as I get the lens, I'll test it not only on the OM system camera, because I already have some comments asking me to test it on Lumix cameras, because so far, a lot of the video you've seen are all tested on Olympus/OM system cameras, and so I will be testing on Lumix cameras as well, so you can get a flavor on how it operates as well. Don't forget that Lumix cameras don't have Sync IS enabled, so I either have to use the lens IS or the in-body stabilization. So I will be mating the lens to the GX7, because I already sold my G9 Mark II, so the GX6 and GX7 are the only two pro-grade Lumix cameras I still have in my collection. But I'll be using them and do some filming, just do some photos in general, just to see how it feels on the Lumix camera without the Sync IS, just to give you a little bit more feedback in the future. So if you want to look out for that video, it will be coming as soon as I get that lens. So hopefully that will ensure that you get the most informed decision if you have Lumix, if you're Lumix users, for instance, and you don't have to worry about the lens. But I don't think you're going to have too much of a problem in terms of image quality, because it's the same, right? Nothing is going to touch that. Okay, and hello Simon, and also outsider, and Nim Hua Tiao, and hello there. Okay, let's see what you said here about the MC20. I can't really read your comment, so let me just bring it back up to myself so I can see your comment better. So, mentioned that the MC20 degrades the picture quality to the level that she couldn't accept. I used the MC20 in one, but I don't think the picture quality was bad. I already said it. The picture that you just saw, let me just go back to the picture that I just showed you earlier. So I'm gonna just take out your comments right here, and so I'm gonna give you another picture. These are with the 2x converter. So you tell me, is it sharp or not? Right? I have almost exclusively used a lot of 2x converter during my trip. Like I said already early in the stream, I already said that the MC20, the 2x converter, will degrade the image quality, but really not significant. I do not know which version she did. Maybe there was a glitch. I don't know whether she updated firmware on the teleconverters or anything like that. I'm not entirely sure the setup. But for me, it worked flawlessly. As you can tell, some of the images that you see on my screen right now, these are all with 2x. Let's see if I can give you another one. And this is again 2x. It's lovely, right? It's really tech sharp, and I don't really see any problem whatsoever. It's just great. It looks great. I think that the quality is very, very good. Hello there. Someone tell me that I'm gonna get into trouble. And well, look, I'm testing out the lens reach. I have excuses. So you can see that this is the 2x. This is without the 2x. And you see the difference here. I don't know how many of you can actually kind of see the difference there. I think they are very comparable, and obviously without 2x will be slightly sharper. That's for sure, because that's without any other extra layer of glass in between the lens and the body. But every time you throw something in between, you will degrade something. Like I said, 1.4x will do a little bit of it. MC20 will do a little bit more in terms of image quality degradation. However, I would say that it is really usable in my own experience, because I use 2x converter on all kinds of lenses, like the 40 to 150. I used it on the 300 f4 Pro. I also use in other combinations, like the 150 to 600, together with all the other lenses you can imagine that you can mount the MC14 or MC20 on them. So yeah, to me, I think it's really good. So here is another shot that I tested with and without the teleconverter. I think you can probably see this one. Oh no, I think it's another bunch there. So this one, I'm going to come back to the same image with the teleconverter in a minute. I think this one is without teleconverter, so it is sharp. I think it is really, really sharp. The lens itself, which is very interesting to me, because many of you, I'm not how familiar you are with zoom lenses design. A lot of the cases when you go to any sort of camera store and try out some of the lenses, for instance, you would probably see that the tele end are usually a little bit softer than the short end. This is how it is. Zoom lenses are always like that. At the shorter end, these always gonna be sharper and a little bit more punchy. When you zoom all the way out or zoom all the way into the longest end, it's always going to be a little bit soft, a little bit flat. That's how it is. A lot of the lenses are like that. Even the 40 to 150 Pro was a little bit like that. If you compare at 40 to 150, for instance, you will see a little bit of difference there in terms of sharpness and contrast level. Yeah, this is always something that I've discovered, in all kinds of zoom lenses. All the Olympus lenses do it. All the Sony lenses do that. All the Canon lenses do that too. So it's not exclusive. But for me, the new 50 to 200 millimeters, you will see a little bit of that, but it's fairly consistent across the entire focal range, not only in terms of color, contrast, but also sharpness. Yes, the shorter end is still going to be a little bit sharper, but I think overall, as you can tell, it is still very, very sharp. So I like it. I really, really do like it. So let's see if there is any other things that you may want to see. Hang on a second. Where's my window gone? So just 1 second. I have no idea exactly what happened. Oh, there you go. My, I just wondered where my window's gone. So here we go. So a few more people has joined in now. So hello there. Nicole, hello Nicole. Good morning from the US East Coast. Hi there. Welcome to our Red Hot Talk podcast. So don't forget that this is also a podcast. I know you're watching it maybe live at the moment, but you can also listen to the whole conversation afterward if you are interested. We also have other episodes available previously that we stream live on the the YouTube Music app as well as a podcast, so you can listen to that. But of course, you can always come back to this channel and watch it as well if you want to see some interaction between me and Rob, and also maybe sometime we showcase some products and also some images as well. Okay, and Alan, hello Alan, welcome to our live stream. Jeff, hello Jeff. So I've never had a problem with the MC20 on the 300F4 Pro and the 4150 2.8 Pro. All my images are have been tech sharp. Yeah, so I really don't see Emily's comments there. I mean, I haven't watched the entirety of her video. I've seen the first 5 minutes or so, I think. I think her images are great. So, I'm not entirely sure, what sort of things she did to create the soft image at the tele end with the teleconverters. I use the MC20 as well. You can see some of the images already. I'm going to show you some more. They're all tech sharp as well. They're all very, very nice and contrasty. Yeah, I really don't understand that. So hopefully, we found the root of it, and maybe there's some sort of firmware issue, fitment issues, maybe just got a bad copy of the MC20. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that she get the lens and the teleconverters from Ohm System, so Ohm System loaned it to them. So maybe it's a bad copy, maybe just been knocked around. The MC20, maybe it's an old MC20, a well-used one. So I'm not entirely sure what that is, but my MC20 is my own copy, so I have it well taken care of. Okay, Antonio, sorry, how the new lenses and sensor like the OM12, Z5 2 and the 2.8 can overcome such bad light? I don't know, like we Michael Four Third users know the deficiencies in the smaller sensor. This is not gonna defy physics, and I'm just speaking the truth, right? If you compare to APS-C and full frame, we always get that disadvantage when it comes to high ISO shooting. If you are shooting in very dim situations, it's always gonna be a little bit problematic. But with AI software these days, it's not that big of a deal, if you know what I mean. So I could easily and quite happy to shoot 12,800 ISO to shoot anything like in a lower light situation, for instance. And also for the lens, this is why I think the 2.8 is such a big deal to me compared to all the other all the other longer lenses, for instance, that has a variable aperture or a slower aperture. The 2.8 always have that advantage, right? You can easily shoot the same shutter speed by lower by a couple of stops or ISO. So that makes a huge difference. So instead of 12,800 and f4, I can easily use at 6,400, in 2.8. So it's really, really that big a deal as well. And also with the teleconverters, that opens up a lot more flexibility when it comes to adapting to other things. Yeah, I just think that this is phenomenal. This is great. So any other question, please do pump in the questions here and ask me anything you would like to ask, that I will try to answer them as much as possible. And just to go back to the sensor thing that Antonio was asking as well. And of course, the OM1 Mark II has a stack sensor, so it's a very different sensor altogether compared to many of the sensors on the market right now. There aren't many stack sensors on the market. You have to go for the flagship level camera to have the stack sensor. And how does it compare the stack sensor to normal sensors, a normal CMOS sensor, for instance? A speed. The stack sensor tends to have way quicker readout speed. So, and that would translate into two things: less of a blackout when you're shooting continuous, and also less rolling shutters together with faster electronic shutter capture. So it's quite useful for those who do need the speed. And also being a micro four third in a smaller sensor, so compared to the stacked sensor in other larger formats, we still have an advantage as well because of the sensor area. The distance between the edge to the other edge of the sensor is a lot shorter compared to full frame, for instance. So you still get even quicker readout speed compared to them as well. So if you just purely want to use electronic shutter, this is the completely viable option, which is not sometimes I would say not normally feasible for larger sensors. So that's another advantage of having a micro four thirds stack sensor, which the OM1 Mark 1 and the Mark II has. Okay, let's go back to some of the images, shall we? Let's go here. So let's see if I can get other photos. Look at it. Oh, I love this shot. So this is a little bit about urban shot. By Newquay area, was walking around town. I'm just having a lens with me. I was actually a little bit worried that I might get mugged because I have such a important lens with me. Not that this place is not safe. I'm just saying, because I have an expensive lens and also a loaner, and it's not mine. I'm insured, so it's just that I'm a bit worried that if someone may nick it and I can't take more sample images for you guys to see. But overall, I was quite happy. In Newquay was a beautiful area, very lovely. And that day, when I was walking around to a sunset, this came up. I saw some seagulls flying around. Some was landing on the roofs of some of the buildings, and I could see the sun. So these are beautiful composition. And why not? I got to reach, even though I was like 150 meters away from them, I was able to capture them. So it's really, really cool. So I'm going to give you other pictures as well. And this is the next one. It's the same seagull that flew off. Right. In hindsight, maybe I should have used pre-capture or pro capture, right? But I didn't use it. I didn't actually use it. I just basically waited and click on it using the old school method, and I just got the seagull flying just a little bit off the sun there. I mean, ideally, I would like it to be a little bit more center, but look, I didn't use pro capture, so I didn't have that fast shutter to capture the moment in the right time. This is all old school, that shows that how much the pro capture can help you in critical moments like this, because you just don't know when the bird is going to fly, right? You just have to react quick enough. And I'm not young anymore, my reaction time is a little bit slower than I used to be. But anyway, it was fun. Okay, let's see another one. So this is another seagull in the same area, but this time it is low on the ground. So I lie down flat on the grass and trying to put the gull right in the middle, with the sun behind him. So it's really, really fun just to do that. And you can see the rendering. Some people were asking me about the rendering of the lens. They some of them did question, the 40 to 150 2.8 Pro was a little bit busy. How does it compare with the 50 to 200, for instance? And I would say that yes, they looks completely different. They don't look the same, the rendering. And I think the 50 to 200 millimeters is definitely less busy. I think it's a bit creamier. I think the rendering is definitely more modern. But overall, I just think it looks lovely. It is not busy at all, as you can see from this image right here. Just depending on choice of background, though, of course, the blurrier it is, the less busy it becomes. But even with that many textures being in the background, I think it looks great. So let's see another one. Okay, this is also a fun shot as well. I was there for a few more seconds there, and trying to wait until the sun clip into some of the buildings, and you'll see just in a minute. And I managed to get a shot where this sun actually on top of the chimney. So it just kind of looked fun to me. So just waiting for that to happen, and I managed to capture that as well. Okay, so right. Svenzini has a comment here. Besides the Ollie, I am also shooting Nikon APS-C. I'm impressed how good the 20 megapixel sensor is in the Nikons. Yeah, okay. Yes, Nikon sensors been underrated for a long time. I think the sensors are actually pretty good. I do enjoy that. I mean, I use the ZF and also the ZFC. The both are not 20; they're 24 megapixel, 24 megapixels. But they are pretty good, pretty decent, but quite slow. I mean, I would say that after you've been spoiled with the stack sensor, the speed of it, now going back to CMOS sensors, and you suddenly realize that yeah, it's got a little bit of rolling shutters. That if you use electronic shutter, that even if you pan very quickly, you also see a little bit of that even with mechanical shutter. So that's a big difference there. Okay. Using built-in ND filter, which one are you referring to? If you can clarify that, and I could answer that. I didn't use any filter whatsoever with this with these set of photos here, because first of all, I forgot to carry any filter whatsoever. That's me. So I didn't use any filter in throughout the entire trip when I was in Newquay, Cornwall. But also, secondly, I don't think I have anything that would fit this lens. I have a I have the kind of 82 millimeters filter set, and I also have the 62 millimeter filter set. I don't have anything in between. The 82, I can get a step up ring to use it on this lens. It's got the 77 millimeters filter thread, which is actually very good. For those who don't use filters, may not appreciate it, but for those who do, you know, 77 is still a very good size, and it's not extortionately expensive. Like the 82, for instance, the 82s are very expensive, and anything bigger will be even more expensive. And imagine you want to get a set, if you want to get ND, you want to get the CPL, if you want to get mist filters, starting to add up, right? So yeah, having 77 is actually very good size. Okay, yeah, okay, I got it now. Yeah, no filter at all on the sun. Nope, nothing, just straight on shot, and a little bit of processing in post, and that's all I got. So no ND, nothing at all. I in hindsight, maybe I could have tried a little bit of the live GND filter effects on the OM Mark II, because it has it. But I don't think I needed it because the light was already quite dim, so it's not too bad. And as you can see, that I boost the shadow up a little bit more in post. For those who might be worried a little bit about noise, there you go. I think that it looks great. So let me just bring in another photo. Like you can see that now, I'm trying to wait for the sun to really go close to the chimney, and I'm trying to get that shot. So I was waiting and waiting, and I started to see some blood flying. You know, I have a lot of things in my head at the time. You know, when I was taking this series of photographs, I was thinking that maybe one of the birds would fly in the middle of the sun. Guess what? It did, but I missed the shot. I felt so gutted about it. Look at that. That's the shot. I really wanted to, hoping the bird would fly into the center of the sun, and it kind of flew towards the sun, and then it weared off, so like to the left. And oh gosh, it was so gutted. If you continue to fly straight, you know, I'm pretty sure the angle that it was flying, it would eventually hit the center of the moon, which I would get that shot with the bird right in the center of the sun, and that would be brilliant, right? No, I didn't get that, which is a bit of a shame. So now the sun is on top of the chimney. I just thought it was pretty cute, you know, like having something like this. It's almost like a fun thing, you know, just by looking at it. So I just thought that looks cool. That looks cool. The sun just kind of popping up from the chimney. That was really fun. Okay, let's see if any other questions here. B, the sample photo with the MC20 on the website looks really good. It is. You know, I already said it. The MC20 works extremely well with the new lens. I have no problem using it at all. Although these sunset shots here that you see are without teleconverters. This is just the lens itself. So a lot of the shot you may have seen are at the 200N. So yeah, they are sharp and they're nice. They're very good. So let's see if I get another shot I want to show you guys. The more of the sunset shot with the same thing, the chimney and the sun, and that's it. And this shot, it's just testing. I just testing the rendering of the lens. I would just basically the sunset shot that is short. I just turn 90-degree to my right, and that's this staircase here. So for me, it's purely a rendering exercise just to see how the defocus area look like in the foreground, and it looks fine to me. It looks quite nice, kind of soft, gradual transition that I like to see from the defocus to the focus area. I think it looks great. And now let's move on to the next one. And again, just trying to test out the 200mm end sharpness. I saw some rowers in the far end of the sea just by the beach, and so I just zoomed all the way in to have a look at them. Yeah, it just looks tack sharp. Everything looks great, and I don't have any problem there. It's already getting quite dim, as you can imagine. The sun's already way past that line by the time I shot this. I think I did utilize a slightly high ISO, but because of the Sync IS, I was still not using extremely high ISO, and these rowers were still quite slow. They're not like car speed, so I still managed to do about I think 1/250th of a second shutter speed. So the ISO would have been about ISO 800, maybe 1600 if I can't remember exactly now. Maybe I can actually see that. I'm not entirely sure, but nope. Okay, but yeah, it wasn't that high. So having a 2.8 really helps. So let's see another photos right here to see if I can get another one up. There you go. That's another fishing boat there. Same thing. You can see that it's getting dimmer and dimmer and dimmer by the second. Again, testing the ISO, testing stability, the capability of the stabilizations, and also the just general optical quality from the new lens. You guys be the judge of it. What do you think so far? Do you think that it is sharp enough at 200N? How does it feel like? Do you think that you saw the images with the MC20 teleconverters? I think they look fine to me. Everything looks extremely well. Yeah, nothing to complain. Nothing to complain. So, have a little break here. Let's go back to our little chat here. So far, are you guys impressed? Just let me know honestly, right? Okay, I would like to hear from you and just your feeling towards the new lens, because I read a few comments from my review earlier this morning. You guys hadn't seen it. Just go back to my channel. It's right on the top there, so you can actually see that. I said what I meant in the video because I've used literally all the Olympus/OM system lenses, since the beginning of the channel, and I review most of them, not all of them. I review most of them, and this is by far the most impressive one so far. That's the truth, and that's to the bottom of my heart. I love all the pro lenses. I love all the 1.2 pro prime lenses. I mean, they are still, my gem, my collections that I would never ever sell, because they are just great for what it is. And also, I love using them on my for my portrait shoot. For instance, the 17 1.2 Pro, which I have it for my streaming at the moment. I use the 25 1.2 Pro. The 45 1.2 Pro is amazing for portrait, but the 50-200 is amazing. I think the OM system engineer managed to achieve such a feat in terms of optical quality. A lot of the problematic areas that people used to see in zoom lenses, like loca, distortions, and vignettes, are all being addressed optically in the lens, not utilizing much of the software correction, which is quite rare these days if you think about it. We talked about this a lot with Rod. Remember that a lot of the manufacturers now opted for the digital way of correcting lenses. Yeah, it's a little bit cheaper. You can make the lens a little bit more compact and light, just because you can correct a lot of the distortions and all the other things digitally in camera. But OM has gone all the way into the optical department, and really making sure that they can correct everything as much as they can. And you all know that, right? You and I know that Olympus were really known for the optics. Yeah, in the 70s and 80s, Olympus lenses were regarded as the Leica in Japan. You know, that's how good they were. You know, all the optics, you know, the Olympus lenses were fantastic. You know, they know how to make sharp lenses. Don't forget it, they do make medical equipment, so they do need the best optical engineers possible to make those equipment, and they know how to build lenses. So I'm really glad, really glad to see this lens appear. And don't forget that, you know, for those who don't know, this is OM System very first lens that is completely designed, researched, and developed, and from the OM System engineer since the takeover, or the, you know, the slice from the original Olympus Corporation. So this is not carried over like most of the lenses you've seen so far, you know, including the 150 to 400, because that lens was planned to build during Olympus time. In fact, the first batch was under the Olympus branding, only until the last couple of years, there is slowly migrating to the OM System branding. But that lens was already in the pipeline, and so is other lenses like the 90mm macro. That's also from the Olympus time. But this, excuse me, the 50 to 200mm 2.8 IS Pro is a OM System lens, so completely designed by them, and well, probably the same engineers, but then anyway, it is still under OM Systems house, nobody else's. So that is really good to see, and I'm really happy also to see that they have gone back to the roots about optical design, really giving us everything that we're hoping to see from a professional grade level lens point of view. So that is something I'm so happy to see. Yeah, it's just generally very positive. So Sweden Oaf, hello, I'm so excited. I am too. Like I said already, I already pre-ordered one this morning, and I really can't wait to get my hands on it, and just to start shooting with it more in my own environment. And I know the shot that you saw earlier, I'm going to show you some more. They were all captured during my holiday, so I had 1 week with it. I had fun with it, but I didn't carry the lens every single day because, you know, there are some activities that we're doing that I didn't carry any big lenses at all. So I just used my normal 12 to 40 2.8 Pro for those days that I don't need bigger lenses. But for those days that I need, like beaches and things like that, you know, I was just so impressed with it. And so I can't wait to start using it for all kinds of stuff. Really is. This lens can do all kinds of stuff, including some macro, which I'm going to show you some close-up shots in just a moment, because it has quite a good close focusing capabilities, despite being such a long lens. I think if you zoom all the way in, you can get 1 to 2 magnifications, which is amazing. Okay, so let's go back to some of the images so we can continue to chat away. So in the meantime, if you have any comment whatsoever, please do let me know. Anything you would like to know about the lens, any question you may have about the lens, and also why OM System designed this, and because it's so close to the 40 to 152.8 Pro, for instance. If you do want to listen to that, maybe I'll talk a little bit about it towards the end of the video today. Right, let's continue to look at the images. So let's continue from here, and okay. So again, this is another shot just to try and test out the rendering of the lens. Compared to 40 to 150, for instance, this is definitely not busy, you know, and so it's quite nice, quite soft. I think overall it looks very filmic, very Olympus, which is good to see. I like that. And here's another shot, and you can see the difference between the rendering coming from the previous shot here, you know, from a very, you know, busy, not in terms of rendering, but busy background, like a lot of the straws and a lot of the grass and everything. It's a lot of textures there compared to something a little bit further away, and things can change dramatically depending on what type of background you have. So it's good to see that, and the color reproduction is fantastic as well. Oh, here's some macro shots now. So yeah, this is handheld, you know, and lucky we have this Sync IS. Okay, look guys, I'm not a macro guy, and in fact I'm a little bit scared of bugs, so but Bees I'm okay. Bees I'm okay. So I took the liberty of you know, trying some close-up shot with the bees. But having a 200 lens is fantastic. That means I can step a heck away from this thing, and so I can still be able to capture them. But of course, you know, I still shoot this in relatively high ISO because I do need to freeze a couple of things. First of all, the movement from the bee. You can see the wing is still flapping. You can still see the motion there. But at the same time, I still have to make sure that I can combat the shakiness from the whole setup. The lens is light, but still a long lens, and having a 200mm zoom all the way in, the angle of view is very, very narrow. So, excuse me, I got a bit of cough there. And when you zoom all the way in, the any sort of movement is exaggerated. So like even with IBIS, I have to be very careful about camera shakes. So a high ISO is almost a must for such a tiny creature. And if you want to try to capture that, so I did boost it to 6400 ISO, I believe, and I just shoot it away. Hopefully, can capture them. So I think the shutter speed wasn't a bright condition there, and when I shot this, so I can't remember exactly. I think the shutter speed was 1/800, maybe 1/1000. But even that is a little bit slow. If you want to freeze the wings from the bee, you need to go even faster. So just bear that in mind. But anyway, I'm very impressed with it. So, great morning. As an active Michael Forsyth follower, why is this the first I'm hearing about this lens? Really? Oh, okay. I'm a little bit surprised you're only just hearing about this lens. It's first of all, it's been rumored for days. It's been rumored for days on the Forsyth rumor site. And the second, I think this morning, 7 o'clock, that's the when the embargo was lifted. I'm pretty sure that there was instantly about 20 videos up already on YouTube and OM System website, Instagram pages, all buzzing with the lens. So yeah, I'm a little bit surprised I haven't heard about this until now. Yes, it's a thing that I think a lot of us have been waiting for. That's for sure, because and the roadmap, you know, that we've seen as of late last year and early this year, we're already seeing a gap there being highlighted. A pro-grade zoom lens is coming, although they kind of highlighted the range, but they never really say what it is. People were speculating whether it's going to be the replacement for the 40-150 f2.8 Pro or a completely new lens, which in this particular case, it is a completely new lens. And it is not replacing the 40-150 f2.8 Pro. Let me clarify that. OM System specifically told me that they are going to keep the 40-150 f2.8 Pro as a secondary lens, right? So they're not going to replace it because that lens is still a high performer, and it's still, you know, to me, a very value for money for what it is, for what it can do. And especially, you know, it has all the pro features like weather sealing, manual clutch, and also very, very small for a 2.8 zoom lens. So that is a fantastic option for those who want to have that 2.8 aperture, and also a slightly more compact body for traveling, or maybe just doesn't quite reach out, or couldn't justify spending the money on this brand new lens here, because you know, I know it's an expensive lens, but also at the same time, like I also said, I couldn't justify myself spending more money on the 150-400. So that lens I didn't buy, but this one I did, because I can justify. So for those who can justify buying this lens for that sort of money, you'll be rewarded for what the lens can give you. I can tell you right now, you know, both the 40-150 2.8 Pro and the 50-200 f2.8 Pros are both great lenses, you know, just at different level. So if you want the best, you know, now, you know, it is the 50-200 now. No longer the 40-150, it is now the 50-200. It is a better lens in all respects, you know, all levels. Weather sealing is better, I think, personally, you know, even though it has the same rating. And then build is better. And also generally, you know, optically is better as well, way better than the 40-150 f2.8 Pro in all ranges. Yeah, I think it's generally good. And also IS. Lens IS is built into the lens, which the 40 to 150 2.8 Pro doesn't. It has to rely on the body stabilization. So with the 50 to 200, you can use Sync IS if you have an Olympus/Ohm system bodies. So you can take advantage of another stop to stop and a half stabilization at the long end, which will come in handy, right? Some of the shot, I hope that I can show you that shot that I did with the handheld high res with the 2x converter. I was just testing myself to see if the system can handle that sort of shakes, you know, and you know, to my surprise, it did. It did very well. Okay. Okay, just a few more comments there. Hello there. And how do you like the Sync IS on the new lens? Phenomenal. Literally, I just mentioned that it's fantastic. I think that the Sync IS is working really well, especially at the long end. At 200 with the 200 with the MC20 teleconverters, I actually think is insane. You still see shakes. Don't get me wrong, you will see it, especially when the sensor stabilization reaching its limit. You see a little bit of a jump, but you are basically asking the sensor to do a lot at that sort of long focal length, and that's not exclusive. And because I've tested in even longer lenses like the 150 to 400 with the teleconverters, I've also tested the monster 150 to 600 millimeter lens with the MC20 as well, with the Sync IS. I just think that, you know, we are really asking to be, you know, to that limit that is trying to defy physics. But overall, I think that the Sync IS works very well, very well with this lens and the body. If you've got the newer generation of the body, like the OM1 Mark 1 or the Mark 2 or the OM3, I think it'll be fine. You'll be totally fine because it has the best stabilization at the moment. With the lens IS together, you are getting a lot of stabilization there, so you don't have to worry too much about it. Okay. And also you've got a follow-up comment here, and I really wish they make a smaller brother for this lens, like the 40 collapsible 50 to 1 f4 would be nice. Oh, I see what you mean. I see. Okay, that's an interesting proposition there, but I'm not sure whether they will do it, at least not in the short to medium term, because they already have the brilliant 40 to 150 f4 Pro. Yeah, because if you make the 50 to 200 f4 Pro, what are you gonna do? You know, the 50 to 200 IS Pro, there's a differentiation there. You know, not only just for the built-in IS, but if they have the f4 version, you can potentially make it a little bit slimmer, and but I'm not so sure about the actual length of the lens. Maybe just a tiny bit shorter, so you're not really gaining a lot. If you want it to be even lighter, you have to ditch the IS. So it's going to be a very tricky situation, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So I think potentially possible, but in the longer term, perhaps maybe one day they want to replace the 40 to 150 properly, the f4 series, they will go for this one, the 50 to 200 f4 Pro. I don't know. I just don't think they would do that immediately. But, you know, I think I can see where you're coming from, because I personally like the 40 to 150 f4 Pro. That's my kind of my de facto travel zoom, which I have it right here. It's such a tiny lens, and I like it. I love it a bit. I think is really, really good, just to show you there, because it's such a small lens as well. You know, you can see that tiny thing. It's almost the size of the 1.2 prime lenses. I do have one right here too, somewhere, if I can see it. No, I don't. I thought I have it right here. Anyway, it's about this size. It's great, right? And you can see that you can even match some of the full frame 50mm lenses in terms of size. This is the full frame 50mm lens, and this is a zoom lens, a pro-grade zoom lens on a Micro Four Thirds platform. So that's the difference between a full frame lens and the and the Micro Four Thirds lens. And body make, you can get to Micro Four Thirds sizes nowadays, but in terms of lens, nah, you can't get the same sort of level or quality with the range that we have in Micro Four Thirds system. Alex, you got some comment as well. I would like to ask you to do the test with the older Olympus model, like the Mark EM1 Mark III, EM5 Mark III, and EM1X. Okay, okay. I can do that because I have all of them. I can do that. I think what I will do is, because quite a few people already requested it, so what I might do is when I get my own copy of the lens, because I ordered it, so I'm hoping to get it as soon as possible. Apparently, OM System did tell me that if an ambassador ordered the lens, I should get the priority. I don't know how true is that. You know, last time, I ordered this as well, the OM5 Mark II. I saw so many of my friends already got it before me, and you know, I was supposed to be the priority. It didn't even come to me until 3 weeks later. So well, you know, I don't know about being priority is it makes any difference, but I did order first thing in the morning. As soon as the pre-order opens, I did place my order, so hopefully I'll be in the a higher list, you know, in terms of numbering. So hopefully I will get it soon. So I'm hoping so. I'm hoping so. Okay. Right. G-Grass. Okay. Oh, hang on. You're responding to someone else. I think the second-hand price of the 40 to 150 Pro is going to take a little dive. Not necessarily. Not necessarily, because there are two ways of thinking about this. Yeah. People who may be upgrading, and they would ditch the 40 to 150 f4 Pro, sorry, the 2.8 Pro, and buy the new lens, right? So they were flogging, selling the 2.8 version, the older 40 to 150. But at the same time, there were a lot of people out there wanted the 40 to 150 2.8 Pro. There's still a high demand lens. So when it got into the market, second-hand market, even though that there may be more copies flooding into the used market, but at the same time, demand hasn't diminished at all. You know, like, so the price may still be propped because of the demand. So you never know. You know, I don't think it's going to dip that much. And even though there may be more copies floating about, so it can go two ways. So I'm just basically giving my 2 cents on how it is. I mean, if it's a low demand lens, yeah, sure. You know, the price will crash basically. But because the 40 to 150 2.8 is such a popular lens, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are waiting to get a used one. With now more than ever, you know, people might be really trying to get the new one and sell off the old ones, and people have a chance to actually get them. So that would be quite a good thing to have, actually. So LC, let's see. I'm curious, wasn't the 40 to 150 f4 Pro completely designed and produced by OM System? Not according to what I've been told, because the brand new 50 to 200 f2.8 IS Pro is the very first lens that is completely R&D and developed, designed, and also produced by OM System. It wasn't in the original roadmap when the company is still under Olympus Corporation. So this is a brand new thing. So the original 40 to 150 f4 Pro, it was already being developed with when the company is still under Olympus, so it's already there. Even though they released it with the OM System branding, as you can see right here, it wasn't a proper OM System lens. It was still an Olympus lens. So yeah, that's according to what I've been told. So I'm just telling you what they told me. So I would trust them. Of course, you know, I don't think that it will be a lie. Otherwise, they wouldn't have doubts about it. Okay. What else we're here? So. Okay, here we go. The macro capability of this lens makes it a really attractive and immensely useful lens. I agree. And one of the good things about Micro Four Third in general is the close focusing capability, regardless of what lens you use, right? And this lens in particular, because you can zoom all the way in, so you can really get some proper macro shots there, but while staying away from the subject. Just like the B shot that I just showed you, just go back to the B shot. You know, I was quite away from it, and I just using the 200 length, which is 400 equivalent in the full frame terms. You can really get something close, and that's really, really cool. And having a 2.8 aperture is, you know, It's just good. It's really good for in terms of light gathering and things like that. So that is a really flexible and versatile lens. So let's see what else I can show you here. And I'm going to try to give you another image. So it's another shot, just trying to skip through this. So see another one here. You can see how sharp it is, how detailed it is. This again is, I think this is at 200 as well. I don't think I used the teleconverter for this shot. So 200, you can see how detailed and sharp from the actual cup itself. It's just amazing, amazing how much detail it resolves. Right, okay, let's go to another comment just to see. Tate as well. I would like to see this lens on an EM1X or the OM1. Well, I already showed you in my video, my review video, preview videos that with the OM1 Mark II, so that is essentially the OM1, right? So I don't think that I need to do that. But the EM1X, yeah, sure. Once I get my lens, I will show it to you. I'll show it to you how it looks. In fact, I'm gonna test with a few bodies. I'm gonna test with the bodies that I have, which practically everything. So I can test it on the EM1X, the older EM1 bodies like Mark II and Mark III, and also some of the OM5 and EM5 series. So I have the OM5 Mark II, so you can see what it looks like with the OM5. I have the Mark I and also the EM5 III. And also Pen F, if you want to see the lens on the Pen F, I can also do that as well. Okay, right, let's see what else here. Sweden, so I hope that next white lens would be something like the 25 to 120 about f2 or something like that. What's your opinion about such a lens? Should it be f2? I don't see why not. But, well, that's always a but, right? But when we looked at the older 4/3 f2 lenses, remember the 150 f2, the 35 to 100 f2, they were monsters. They were big. They were heavy. And I know technology has moved on quite a bit since. They can definitely make it a little bit smaller, a bit lighter. And but it's still not going to be small because the f2 aperture, right? So it's still going to be big. So a 25 to 120 with an f2 constant aperture is not going to be a lightweight small lens. It's going to be big. Well, you look at the Panasonic, right? The Panasonic has a 1.7 constant aperture zoom lens. Look how heavy that thing is. For a micro four thirds lens, that is pretty heavy, right? You know, I think weight-wise, it's probably about the same weight as this 50 to 200, to be honest. So it's not light. So if you do have this lens with the f2 constant aperture, it's not going to be a micro four thirds lens as we know it. It's going to be a little bit bigger than what we're used to. So, but yeah, I'm up for it. I'm up for it. I think it will be quite cool to see something like this, because 25 to 120 is also a very good usable range as well, so it would be quite cool. But what I personally would like to see is a probably an equivalent of the 12 to 40 at 2.8, but again, actually with you, f2 aperture, maybe even bigger 1.8 aperture. The reason I say that is because Sigma released the 17 to 40 millimeters f1.8 art lens, right? I am testing that lens. Well, I tested it actually. A video is still in the making. I haven't made a video yet, but I filmed it, and I've been using that lens on my Fujifilm X-M5, and I'm utterly impressed with that lens as well. So you know, technology is here, and they made a constant aperture 1.8 with a range which is, you know, to me very usable in a micro four third RAM. You know, 17 to 40 is a very usable range, right? I could so see that lens on my micro four third camera, you know, and but obviously Sigma doesn't make any micro four third lens these days, so I'm a bit gutted that they don't make a version for it. But anyway, you never know. OM System may make one. Okay, let's see what else in here. So let's give you another image to look at. Apple, sort the apples on there. But you know, again, I was just testing, right? Okay, this is interesting, right? Oh, this is my friend's daughter, and I just zoom all the way in just to test, you know, how much you can see and resolve, and it's crazy how sharp this lens is, and to me, it just you know, shockingly good. Shockingly good. And this is actually indoor. I think that I pushed the ISO to 3200 for this shot, but she was relatively still, so I don't have to use a very fast shutter speed to freeze this frame. So it's not too bad. So here's more detailed shot. Again, just testing the sharpness of the lens. And you can see a little bit hazy there. That's not to do with the lens. This is that, in fact, it's actually because of the distance that I was shooting with. This is with the 2x converter. So again, for those who commented earlier about Emily's videos, she was talking about the lens wasn't sharp enough with the MC20. And here's a shot with the MC20. As you can see that it is pin sharp to me. The detail looks great. The haze, like I said, is due to the distance, and the atmosphere is nothing to do with the lens at all. So it just looks fine to me. Very, very sharp, very, very detailed. And I've got a couple of comments here, but let me see if I show you another shot. So this one, of course, I was just testing with the bird tracking, and even though I'm not a bird photographer, but look, you know, when you're on the seaside, you're gonna have plenty of them, so just try to do a couple of shots there just to see what the CAF looks like, right? And as I said in my preview video, the CAF is absolutely lightning fast, and really, I said in the video, this is by far the fastest AF lens I've used on the entire Olympus lineup. And I stick my gun to it. It is that fast. It's really fast. I tested so many Olympus and OM system lenses. I own a lot of them. This is by far the fastest. So it's great for people who may want to shoot something very, very fast, whether it's going to be sports, whether it's going to be animal running, people running, dog running, anything running, you know, you're going to be fine with that, because the AF speed is so quick. It's more than adequate to do all sorts of sports, to be honest. So a great lens in terms of AF speed. So next shot, more servers. Again, this is with the 2x converter. I just think that is really cool, you know, and I have no problem shooting with the MC20 all day long. Okay, I've got some comment here and just want to bring that up. Maybe you're just gonna, it's probably quite hard to see with the light background. See if I can get another shot here. Right, this may look a little bit okay. Okay, let me stick with this for now. Nicole say that I would trade you my 40-150 f4 to 5.6 for your 40-150 f2.8. You know it's better because the numbers are higher. I like your thinking. Brilliant, excellent. And I got another comment earlier on my Facebook, and someone was saying that this lens is no better than the Panasonic 50-200 mm f2.8 to 5.6. I would totally disagree. Even though that's a Panasonic lens, it's a smaller, lighter lens, sure. But, you know, it's also an older lens. And the thing is, right, I may upset someone here. Panasonic lenses are great. Some of them, not all of them. Because I also tested, I mean, most of them, I wouldn't say all of them. I've tested the 200 mm 2.8 prime. I tested the 100-400. I used to own the 25 1.4. I tested the 15 1.7 and also the Nocticron, the 42.5 mm 1.2, and also some other zoom lenses. Can't remember which one now. I would say that a lot of the primes are good. The zoom lenses, not so much. I mean, I find that a lot of the Panasonic zoom lenses are have a lot of fringing going, and also the AF speed just not as quick, you know, compared to the primes. The 200 mm 2.8 prime Panasonic Leica lens is exceptionally quick. Not as quick as this, but it's still pretty quick. And of course, being a prime, you know, is quite nice, compact lens as well for what it is. But again, you know, the brand new 50-200 2.8 beats that as well, because it's a lighter lens. By a little bit, not too much, but it's just overall handling is way better than the Panasonic lens. And I have a soft spot for Panasonic as well, because I'm a Leica user. So when I hear the name Leica, I'm also, you know, oh, it's a Leica lens, right? But, you know, I just want to tell the truth here. I mean, like I said, Nocticrons is great. You know, I like a lot of the Panasonic lenses, but not all of them, because I just think that a lot of them may just use the Leica name just to put a premium price on it, and I don't know how much input Leica actually have to the lens design. And so I'm just a pinch of salt, just what I'm saying. Okay, let's see for any more comments here. Like I said, if you've got anything to say, let me know. I'm trying to bring it into the conversation and have a chat about it. So, Vermis, the timing was only announced this morning and already sick to my back teeth about at the morning over it. Yeah, I know. It's all over the internet, right? Okay, someone said the next white lens should be the 12 to 50 f2.8 with IS. What about the aging 12 to 100 f4 Pro? IS Pro. I love that lens. I love the 12 to 100 f4 Pro. That's always been one of my favorite travel lenses. It's getting a bit old now. It's still a capable lens, but what if that lens had become a white lens? With a 2.8 aperture too. That would be cool. That would be. I bet that lens is going to be much bigger and much heavier too. So I'm not so sure. Not so sure about that. Okay. Okay, and let's see what else here. Formula 1. I'm uncertain as to why they decided to make this an internal zoom, but I'm ready to buy it regardless. Why not internal zoom? I am wondering because of the size. You're thinking. So you're thinking if it's an external zoom and it would collapse, be a bit more travel friendly. I actually prefer personally. I prefer internal zoom, and because it doesn't change the size, it's better in terms of weather sealing. I always thought that every time when you have an extending lens like the f4 Pro, let me just bring it back up to my face. Just want to show you this. Let me just close this for now. So if you like an internal zoom, external zoom like this one here, it's great for traveling, of course. It's much tiny dimensions, but when you extend it, and I always think, every time you collapse it, it sucks in air. So if you got rain, moisture, it sucked them in as well. I don't know, maybe I'm just being silly. But I just think in general, anything that's closed, moving inside, not involving any gaps and any sort of creaks and things like that, it will make the lens more durable and more reliable in the long run. So I'm up for internal zoom. Not so much about external. I totally agree. If you do it externally, and that means that you can collapse the lens and make it a little bit more travel friendly, make it a little bit shorter if you need to. I know Canon has done that for a lot of the L lenses. So when you collapse them, they look very tiny, but at the same time, once you extend it, it becomes massive. Okay, so continue our little photos there. And what else that we have? For better weather sealing, temperature, and control, in my opinion, I believe that's responding to Fournier. Okay, Robert. If any lens isn't for you, that doesn't make it bad. If it just means that you don't buy it, no harm. You say somebody likes it, but you say pass. Okay, that's responding to other messages. Sorry about that. Okay, let me continue with the picture showcase. And so we're going to continue scrolling through my test shot. So here's more shots, 2x converter again. A lot of these shots are 2x converter because I want to get close. And don't forget, I said it at the beginning of the stream, when I was taking photograph of these servers, I was very far away from them. Very far. Yeah, I'm talking about like 200 meters away from them, 150 meters away from them. So I am, basically, if I don't have a zoom lens like the 50 to 200, I wouldn't be able to take any shot or any meaningful shots whatsoever. But with the 2x converter, I could get so close. I could really see them, the actions and everything like that. So it's really, really cool to see that. You can see that all of these are 2x converter. Perfectly fine. There are more shots of that. This shot is actually interesting. I don't know. It kind of reminds me of one of those shark movies. I don't know. It's just because she's alone in the sea with the surfboard sticking up, and just the vast emptiness. around her, and it just looks pretty, I don't know, scary to me. But I just took the shot just because I find it quite cool, and also quite interesting when it comes to the actual compositions and everything like that. Okay, let's continue with that. Hey, we got a fishing boat. I think is it the same fishing boat that I took earlier in a different day? Looks like it actually. But again, 2x converter. I just wanted to test out the details and resolving power with the 2x converter. And once again, I think it's totally fine. I just don't think there's any deficiencies anywhere. Yes, it is softer than the 1.4. Yes, it is softer than without the teleconverters, but I still think it's sharp. And Marcus say that OMDS can do the counterbalancing cells of the original 2.8 pair, release a 10 to 50 2.8, or even a 8 to 50, then call it baby white. You know what? I'm thinking that they might actually make a trilogy of the white lenses. I think they should, right? They just have to think about what to make next. But that is going to be a little bit confusing now, and because right, they have the normal consumer lenses, then they have the pro lenses, which are black, right? And the top grade professional lenses are going to be white. So it's going to be, I don't know, it's going to be interesting, right? Are they going to build another line, for the kind of like a premium pro lens? So we have the pro lens, which are already fairly expensive, although not expensive compared to full frame, but still an expensive series. And now they have the white. The white is going to be the top. They're going to throw everything to it to make it the best they can be, and charging them accordingly. So that means it's going to be really expensive. And we're already seeing that, right? The 150 to 400 is in the UK is $7,000 or $6,500. Now this lens is $3,000 in UK sterling pounds, and so it's not cheap. These are not £1,000 lenses, not £1,500 lenses. But having said that, the equivalent in any full frames, whether it's going to be G Master lenses or the Canon L series lenses or the Nikon S series lenses, they are going to be at least 2 to 2.5 times more expensive. Yeah, so there you go. So it's still cheap by comparison. Considering someone was saying that this morning on my Facebook again. I think they said, that looks like I can do something like this with a Nikon 400mm 2.8. Yeah, considering the price of 400mm full frame with a constant, with a 2.8 aperture prime, that's gonna set you back like $10,000 or $12,000. So like that's not gonna be a cheap lens. Well, this is still comparatively cheap, for $3,000. Yeah, I think so. Okay. Robert, I use my 40 to 150 2.8 for water events such as sailing and SUP, and I would appreciate the extra 50mm on occasion and the dual eyes for these situations. Absolutely, yes, absolutely. And you would be surprised how stable it is with the IS when it works with the camera bodies. And also that 50mm may not sound a lot, but actually does get you quite a bit closer than you think. Because I'm so used to the 40 to 150, because I use that, like I said, for a lot for the past 10 years. And when I started using the 50 to 200, I immediately noticed the difference with that 50mm. So even though it doesn't, the number-wise doesn't look a lot, but it actually quite a bit. And of course, once you throw in the teleconverters, that's a whole different ball game altogether. Okay, and let's see what else here. Marcus, the thing is, really, 50mm makes a difference, and that's where I found my trusty 140, 150 lacking. And that's why I end up buying the 12 to 100 and the 100 to 400 travel combo. Yeah, that's pretty much what I did as well. Although I don't usually use longer than 200, to be quite frank, because my travel usually is to do with street and cityscapes and things like that. So less so about zooming in. Occasionally, like the trip that I just had, in Cornwall, because of the servers, because of a lot of the urban stuff that I was doing, I actually don't mind the reach, and in fact the reach actually helped me get those shots, and I think those shots are pretty cool, right? And okay, let's go through some more. Right, again, 2x converters, more servers, and all of these are with I was using the CAF, continuous autofocusing, and also with the 2x teleconverters at the longest end at 200. With 2x was 400 millimeters equivalent, so that will be 800 millimeters in full frame terms. Massive range, massive range is still fine. Tracking okay. I didn't have much missed shots because of the CAF. I think in this particular case, the human subject tracking was flawless, in my opinion, anyway. And even though that I don't usually rave about OM Systems human tracking, I think it's a little bit lacking in my older lenses. Maybe because they needed some sort of firmware update at some point. At the moment, I think it only works better with the newer lenses for some reasons. So I just think that maybe OM System, if they're listening, maybe check on some of your older firmwares on older lenses. The human tracking doesn't always work that well. But the newer lenses, like this one, the 50-200, works flawlessly. It's actually pretty good. Okay. Okay. So that Robert was saying there, SUP stand-up paddleboarding, right? Okay, peace. Yes, I did that myself when I was there, and it's actually quite scary. I never done it before because my friend had a paddleboard, so I just tried it on it, and I did stand up. So I did a few run, about 10-15 minutes run. Pretty cool, but I'm a bit scared on the choppy sea, to be quite honest, and I don't think I can do that. So I would just end up in a little pond somewhere doing it. Okay, let's continue looking at some photos. Hello, Andrew. Thank you for joining us today. So let me just all right, 1 second. I'm just looking at, where did I get this message here? Reshock, right? Y'all know that OMDS can do not. Okay, oh yeah, already read this message. Okay, I'm gonna close this. So let's show some more images. Okay, there's more. The same guy. See, that's the tracking working, so it's really good. I kind of like this shot. Because that woman in the far distance there, and I noticed that she was trying for a long time. She didn't make a successful run on it, and this guy would just keep riding it every single time. so I like that reaction from her, because she really was. She's an experienced woman, because she did make one really good run later on, which I think I photographed. I can't remember now. And but yeah, she, because this guy was just cracking on, just doing every single time. I see another guy doing it. Loads of server photos. I just find it fun to do it, even though it's not fun for me to do it like serving, because I'm not a server. So, but it's always cool to watch them doing. Oh, there you go. There she is. Yeah, she did a good run for this one. And this one I was photographing from the cliff top, which is again even further away. I was using the 2x converter, and I was still managed to capture that in the distance. And again, once again, look at the detail yourself. You'll be the judge of it. Is it sharp? Is it not sharp? And you can tell me that. So I think it is very, very sharp. So, okay, right, here we go. How do you like the tripod collar? I saw some other preview, found that there was already scratch off a bit. Right, okay. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you very much. And I don't find a problem. At least at least the test units I saw got a few marks on the tripod collar, especially where the Arca Swiss plate is. Overall, it looks fine. To be honest, I didn't expect it to be flawless. After some use, because like all my lenses, as soon as I use them, marks and scratches will start showing. I think it just really depends on how you pamper your lens. I know some people will put wraps on them, to protect them further, or really baby it. But I don't do that. If I shoot with the lens, if I like a lens, and because I want to capture images with that lens, I'll take it out and I just start shooting. I really care less about the physical appearance of the lens. I mean, that's to all my lenses anyway. There are cameras and lenses that I will pamper, you know, and but those are special lenses that I would like to collect. For instance, so Pen F, I baby it. I have to admit, I baby my Pen F. I also baby the Voigtlander 29mm f/0.8. I baby that lens as well. Because it's a special lens. Also, I bought it in Japan last year. It has a special meaning to me, so I'm keeping that lens in pristine condition as much as I can anyway, although I still shoot with that lens. There are other lenses that I really try to keep it in pristine condition as well. Something like this one here. I don't know if you can see this if I bring it back up to my face again. And something like this is my baby lens, and this is the Canon FD 85mm f1.2L. So this is a very rare lens, especially in this condition. I have the original hood, original box, so everything original. It's a bit dusty, and yeah, so I baby this lens, so it's not a lens that I take out that often, to be quite honest. But yeah, I do baby stuff, but for lenses maybe like the 50 to 200, I don't think I will baby it that much, because I would like to use it for work, and for work I can't baby stuff, to be honest. Otherwise it would start becoming a hindrance for my work. I just use it, so if I bang it, I bang it, and so at least I can test the durability side of it, right? Okay, let's continue here. Okay, Andrew Bachelor, I used OMD 2S. What? Okay, and do have the exceptional 150 to 400. I most likely will most likely purchase the new lens when I can afford it. I will use it specific for in-car work when space is at a premium. Okay, I see. Yeah, well, you already got the magnificent 150 to 400. Oh my god, good for you. That's still my dream lens, you know, because I love that lens as soon as it came out. I always tell myself that one day I'm gonna get that lens, but you know, I just couldn't justify it. You know, I just couldn't justify it. I mean, this lens I could justify because it's work, so I can buy it for work, because I could use that focal length for work, while the 150 to 400 I can't. You know, it's just a bit too long for what I do on a daily basis. So yeah, as much as I like that lens, yeah, still not the lens for me. Okay, right, let's continue. Okay, here we go. There are more service shots here. Let's go through here. Right, this is another distant shot from the far end of the cliff. Again, I was just testing things. Just testing the resolving power and the sharpness of the lens at the long end. This is 200 without teleconverters. And this is the same thing. I was just testing the distortion of the lens. Looks fine. Everything looks cool to me. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, here's some more interesting shot now. Starting to see more isolations there for my kind of photography that I like to do. I like this shot actually because of the server there and a wave crashing in the top end. It just kind of shows the environment he's in, and he's ready for that action. So it's always cool to get some, you know, once you test a few shots, like, you know, normal kind of shooting conditions, and you're starting to, you know, be a bit more creative, starting to look at compositions and things like that. So this is what I started to do. So there are more shots like this, and again, I just love the rendering of the lens. Is just simply magnificent. I think it's really cool. And here, more silhouette shot, you know, very bright. I stopped the lens down to f8 actually, because it's so bright, you know, and I can afford to do that. So that is so cool. That is so cool. Still ISO 200, believe me or not, because the sun was really setting, but it's very strong. There's no clouds, so it's just overall looking great. The more servers. Well, paddleboarders. Yay, paddleboarders. Ah, that's a cool shot here. Yes, I was waiting for this guy. This guy was really awesome, and he knows his stuff. So he was really showing off more or less. So I was managed to capture a few shots of him riding through the waves, and with the same tracking, and it works flawlessly in this particular case. 2x converters, again, no missing there. It's all good, all good. Keep going, more shots. And this is also the sunset, and I turn. You can see that I was turning left and right. I'm turning left and right. Keep looking at different shots here. Yeah, it's just cool, and that's the good thing about having a zoom, you know. And it's nothing, you know. I always say I prefer primes, but I think in situations like this, you know, you can have that choice, have that flexibility, which is pretty amazing. Just a shot with the waves. I don't know why I shot that. And here's the shot of the seagull with some very textured concrete behind for the cliff safety thing. And I just think that, you know, the background looks a bit weird because of the actual texture of the concrete. It is actually a bit weird to start with anyway. So when you defocus them, it looks even more weird. Okay, more crash, wave crashing to the shoreline. You can see it's just lovely images here. I love these few shots coming up. It just looks amazing. It just got that really sensational feeling with the colors and the whole kind of server with wetsuits and the server boards and walking towards the sea in a more sunsetting condition. It just looks very moody, but in a good way. So I like that. And look at this. It's just really, really fantastic. I love these images, and even though they were test shots for me, but I you know, when a lot of the time when I do test shots, I mean, sometimes when you don't have subjects to test, when you don't have a kind of like a place to test it, it's a bit boring. You know, I just want to take some shots to highlight what I wanted to talk about the lens more than anything. But this lens, you know, when I was there, I was starting to experiment with composition, with photography again, you know, and I just love it. You know, it really start setting me off with the whole theme of thing. And when I was, you know, even as a holiday, I just started to make photographs. So it's really cool. I like that. Again, more guys climbing up the cliffs. I always think it's quite dangerous, but never, you know, they're young. I'm old, so you know, it's not my thing. Oh, this is it. This is the, you know, I don't know how many of you joined us from the beginning, but this is one of the lighthouses that I saw. This particular one is in Land's End. So it's actually pretty cool. It's very far away. This is with the 2x converter. I think the next shot, oh, hang on. Oh, maybe this is the shot. This shot, I think, is using handheld high-res. Even though I can't really zoom in here with this program, so it's crazy. It's crazy. I used handheld high-res with this shot, a 2x converter. It's crazy. It's crazy how good the stabilization is. Okay, and these just cliffs, and I was trying to spot any wildlife. I couldn't see any, and I know there are seals around, but I couldn't see any. I did spot one, but it's so tiny and so small and so far away. Even with the 2x converter, it's still like a dot. But I could see it. I could see it. But it's no point taking a picture of it because it's like a dot, basically. So it's not really something that I want to capture. And more rendering shots to see different layers and different distances. More shots with the textures. Oh, I like this one. Yeah, if you see my video, towards the end, my bonus section after the end credits, I did a raw video footage there showing me taking this shot. I was leaning down and trying to use the lens through the gap, through this and through that. This is set in f11 because I want to see the yellow flowers. I forgot the name of it. Seriously, I forgot. Suddenly my brain just go blank. But anyway, the yellow flower. So otherwise, if we open up to 2.8, it just become a yellow haze. So I have to stop it down all the way to f11 to get a little bit of it back. So, but yeah, so this is the f11 shot. And let's continue just to see Land's End and all the crowds, and you know, I couldn't. Last time I went to Land's End was probably 7, 8 years ago, maybe even longer than that. So it wasn't that busy. This the first time in a long time I came back to this place, and it was so crowded. I couldn't believe how crowded it was. I waited to take a photograph with the family, with the Land's End sign, and that took me 45 minutes to queue. That is just insane. So if you ever go there, trust me, leave yourself more time if you want to queue for that picture. Yeah, that's more shots. This is without teleconverters. Cool, nice. Okay, I guess this is it. This is my whole presentation. Right, let's maybe go back to some of these shots. Let's see what else I think is worth sticking on for a little bit of a chat. That's nice. Okay, I like this one. I really do. Anyway, so this is cool, right? And I hope you guys enjoy the pictures that I showed you guys. I haven't done any kind of video sample of the lens. I mean, using the lens for videos, which I will do once I get my own copy. I'll be using the both the OM system cameras and also the Lumix cameras. So I will be able to test out and let you know exactly how it works in both cases. And also how the CF works, how the IS works, how good it is on either systems. Yeah, so I'm gonna do a lot more tests once I have my lens. So I kind of wait for that. Anyway, any other question you may want to ask me about the lens before I conclude today's little chat? I know we talked a lot about the lens, and I show you a lot of the sample images through the entire podcast today. Overall, I just think that OM System did a fantastic job in making this lens happen. Not only this is their very first 100% OMDS lens, and also they make it in such a way that really reminds me the good old Olympus days. When they had the top optical engineers making top level optics. It's not always about the big boys, right? It's not always about Canon, Nikon, and also now Sony. Yeah, I'm really glad to see, they're now back on top. It shows that if they're willing to do it, they can do it. So I'm just hoping to see now other lenses from them in the future. Now it gives, because of this lens, now my expectation is sky high now. I just can't. I don't know what to expect from them next time when I hear from OM Systems new lens development. I just want to see what else they can create. But like I said, at the same time, there are a lot of lenses now are starting to get a little bit old in the lineup. So is Panasonic as well. Panasonic lenses hasn't really been upgrading for a long time. The most recent lens they released was the 9mm f1.7, which I also bought. That's a fun lens. But haven't made anything else. They've been so focused on the full frame S line. They haven't really done anything with the G line, the Micro Four Thirds lines. So at the moment, they're really relying on OM System to make Micro Four Thirds lenses, and yeah, it's only because there are no other no one else makes Micro Four Thirds lenses at the moment. All the Chinese manufacturers are all going for Sony and other formats like Nikon Z and things like that. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame. I'm hoping that at some point some of these manufacturers will go back to make some cool autofocus Micro Four Thirds lenses, and that will be pretty good. I'm looking forward to those. But in the meantime, the good thing is OM System is making great lenses once again, so I'm really happy to see. And also, I think from an ambassadorship point of view, I'm really honored, to be involved in such great company, so continue to support the format, the Micro Four Thirds format, of course, because this channel, without Micro Four Thirds possibly won't exist. And I know that I'm also using other gear now in the channel, like Fuji, the Nikon Z, and but a lot of them I use it. I already told you guys the reasons, because I needed something slightly more high resolutions, and also for the channel's sake, I would like to test out other gear as well, so you guys get some informed decisions. And also, when I talk about Micro Four Thirds stuff, when I mean something, when I say something that is good, then people would know that I'm not just talking is good because I'm only using Micro Four Third. You know, I also use other gear, so it's validating my comments. So that's why I'm doing this exercise here by involving other brands and trying to test out different gear, so I can also appreciate what else other people are doing and compare to the Micro Four Third. So overall, it's for the greater good of the community, so that whenever I say that, oh, this Micro Four Third lens, the 50 to 200 2.8 IS Pro is good, it is good. Anyway, thank you very much for listening to me today. I think that it's been a fun chat. I know that you've been swamped by the new lens announcements and also all the social media and YouTube videos. You know, I understand that every time when there's a new release, you're going to get dozens of videos floating around. But, you know, they're all good videos. They're all great videos. And I think that, you know, worth checking them out as well, because I think this time round, like I said at the beginning, OM System deliberately choose content creators have different genre, so give a little bit of a variety of contents, not just always about birds and bears and whatever macro stuff. So, like, you know, like I did a lot of surfing this time, and they know that I don't shoot wildlife, and they just give me the lens and just use it to do something. So I did. All right, I said, okay, I'll take it to holiday. I'm gonna take it to the beach and to take some photographs of surfers. They're like, yeah, good, just do it. And there are some other photographers doing other things as well. So yeah, it's worth checking other videos as well and just see what else there. So I like it. I really love it. But anyway, so thank you very much for watching, and I really hope that this is a good indication that Micro Four Third is back on top. And I hope that OM System will sell a lot of these lenses, because it will help the company, it will help the exposure, it will bring more people into the system, hopefully, because how good it is, the lens. Because Rod and I talked about it many times. It's always the lens to drive people into the system, not so much about the body. If people like a lens, want to use the lens, wants to see the images, say, I want to get something like this as well, and they can do it. They can do it, right? So that is all good. So thank you very much. If you haven't checked out my video, and please do so. Also, I just noticed something. And if you use your app to watch the video, you can actually, I think they call a hype button. Please press the hype button. It apparently helps distribution of the video. I never know that. I only just found that out this afternoon. But anyway, yeah, I'm totally enjoy making videos for you guys to see and continuously, and thank you very much for your support all along. I know there's some ups and downs, and this summer I've been so busy, haven't really produced much videos, but I will continue to do it as and when I have time. So yeah, so thank you from the bottom of my heart, and without you guys, that silver button won't be here. So thank you again. Anyway, I will end my chat now, and next week Rod will be back, so we're gonna have another duel again. So if you got anything you would like to ask us, or any comments you want to talk about this lens, or anything relating to gear and photography, please leave the comments down below, and we always read about your comments, and some of these we'll bring it into the chat in the future, so please do so. Anyway, have a good time, and I will see you all very soon. Bye for now. Peace out.